seem not to know who's occupied a space before you. For example, King's Cross. I mean, you discover that before you there are a whole range of people who, in a sense, have lived the same life, which involves using pubs and using bars and cafes and restaurants.
Some call it Australia's Barbary Coast, and there are a few pirates there for sure. Others call it Sin City. The inhabitants make their living out of baccarat, dope, witchcraft, prostitution, stripping, and selling each other salami.
There were clubs, although many of them were illegal to the extent that you were not allowed to drink alcohol or buy alcohol. They weren't allowed to sell it. You could take your own, but even then they had a law that you mustn't have it on the table. So when the police came in, you'd put your liquor under the table. Well, those places would stay up to 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And indeed, there was one here on the corner of Forbes and William Street. On the top floor, there was quite a notorious club, really. It was called the 50-50 Club. Big steel doors, and you had to be known to be able to get in, because they were always afraid of police informers, only because of the liquor licensing laws.
Well, I think we had a better time than the kids do today, but that might be a little prejudice on my part. But oh no, we had wonderful times with the artist ball, and there were a lot of mad pubs and parties, and oh no, we had a great time. There's always a lot of drinking going on, I must say.
Elsie Deemer would always be kind of leading the fun and games at bohemian parties and bohemian gatherings.
If I had a shilling for every offer of a drink I've turned down in the course of my bohemian life, I'd be very wealthy. I only drank at weekends when work was over and we happened to have a party. Then I had having a very hard head. Thanks to my ancestry, I could drink a lot and didn't do any damage.
They're talking about cocaine these days. Well, in those years, there was quite a lot of cocaine. They used to call it snow, and they put a little bit on the thumb or end of a nail file and sniff it up the nose. It used to be quite freely taken.
There was the ladies' parlour. It was segregated like a leper, and your escort had to buy you a drink and bring it out to you in the ladies' parlour. And little old ladies would be sitting there doing the beads and shelling the peas and stringing the beads. Incredible, it's so different now.
There were a lot of little clubs around, like the Maltese Club, where there was total beer prohibition, you know, but you could always buy it down, you know, go down the street and you'll knock on the door such and such and you'll get some.
Excuse me, what are you most looking forward to now you're here?
Nice warm water, nice beach, good food, lots of steak, lots of milk.
What about after that?
Nice looking women.
There used to be some prostitution, I reckon, but very, very little of it. But when the Americans arrived, yes, it flourished then. And so did all kinds of scams or stings or whatever you might call them, particularly when the boys on leave, there were always fights.
The girls come from all over Sydney, but they're not admitted unless they measure up to the club's own standards of femininity. Club manager, Mr. Ivor Balmain.
We like the family type of girl, a nice type of girl, you know. I don't particularly like these type of girls that people say hang around the cross. It's a much used term, of course, but I like to see a nice way out girl, a good little swinger, neatly dressed.